All right, what's up, everybody? Welcome to yet another edition of Mob True Crime. We also have a second channel, Mob and Organized Crime News, which we're going to be doing some stuff on. A lot of these shows are going to go on there as well. That channel's been around a little bit longer, and we're going to start rebuilding that and moving that one forward too. So that one you can find on YouTube at Mob and OC News. This one here, Mob True Crime, of course, is at Mob True Crime. And of course, if you're new here or old, smash the like button, please, or dislike if you want to be a hater. You're more than welcome. We love you haters too. We love you twice as much, actually. Ring the notification bell. Make sure that you leave a comment below. Let us know what's up. Let us know that you're here. Become a member of this channel as well as Mob and Organized Crime News, because we're going to be doing exclusive content on there very soon. And we're going to be dropping our videos exclusively for members only first down the road here before they go to public. And of course, you can follow us on Instagram and other social media at Mob True Crime. And if you feel so inclined, by all means, send a cash app, because doing these productions isn't free. So here today, of course, I've got my bro, CEO Rod. We've had Stephen Harris on before in the past. He's back, doing better than ever. And so today's show is going to be an interview with Steve. And what I'm going to do from here is I'm going to pass this to Rod, because Rod knows a lot about what we're about to talk about today. That way you can get some real inside baseball of some old school stuff from Cali and wherever else too, bros. Kick it off, Rod.
What's going on? What's going on, man? Yeah, this part two to the OG Stephen Harris interview. Like I said, he was on maybe about a few weeks ago, rather. So the topic of the story is this part two with OG Steve. We last left off when you was talking about how you escaped from juvenile. Before you get into your story, Steve, let's introduce yourself to the people again.
Hi, my name is Stephen Harris, and I'm an original member of the first reign of Crips back in 1969. I was born on December the 20th, 1955. I was born and raised on the west side. I was born at South Hoover Hospital in Los Angeles, 1955.
So how old was you when you joined the Crips? Like I said, when we talked last time, we talked about how, when the Crips was started, majority of guys was like kids, like teenagers.
Yeah. Like I said, I started in elementary school, basically about the 6th grade, and it wasn't no Crips out. It was really the Slossons, and the Slossons had an off branch called the Pee Wee Warlords, which I was a part of basically first when it started off at 68th Street School. And every elementary school had in LA had a king of the school back then in the 60s. So that's how I became, where I felt like, the leader type thing, wanted to start a gang, because I always was a king of the school from there. Then when I moved up there where we live at 99th, that's when we went to 95th. But I went to Manchester, Bud Long Avenue, all, and they was kicking me out because I kept fighting at school.
Yeah, but like I say, they did that in the 70s. I graduated elementary school. One of my partners, he was the king of the school. So I know what you're talking about when you was the king of the school. But okay, so just tell how old was you when you first caught your case? And let's talk about your first case. And you going to YA, stuff like that.
Okay, I'm 14 in 1969. First, I start off in the juvenile system, with running away and little petty crimes and stuff. But after that, after I run away, me and Buddha escaped. It hit the news at that time. So after I escaped,
so, like you say, I don't really because I got kind of bad reception. Say that again.
I say after I escaped from juvenile hall, like I said, that's when it started. Once I was arrested and was in, which it wasn't. I didn't kill nobody. I had a bodyguard that as a juvenile in the crap games. I figured Paradise has the numbers that hit all the numbers. One of them hit 7s. Anyway, between that and legally shooting the dice, I was a hell of a dice shooter. So anyway, that's what Buddha would watch my back when we go to school at Bret Hart at the church. Before homeroom, once he checked shit like that. What's that?
When you mention the name Buddha, man, a lot of people, they be talking about Buddha and stuff on the internet. Just tell the people who Buddha really was and your relationship with Buddha.
Buddha was Curtis Morrow, and he was a friend of mine, and we growed up in the neighborhood over there where he lived on 105th. That would be the underground neighborhood in their hood. But he would come pick me up from school every day, and it was like a dress contest. He would have on his biscuits and his Levi's, but the thing was the knit shirts. If you remember what Denzel Washington wore off in American Gangster, those knit shirts that he used to wear like that. Those are kind of shirts. Yeah, so we'd have these different ones, some with leather on the pockets, some like that, you know what I'm saying? We wouldn't too much wear the leather coats in elementary school, in junior high back then, because, I would wear them at the record house, because I carry a pistol every time I put on a leather coat. So anyway, we would go to school, he'd watch my back while we shooting dice or whatever, so that was our hustle. Then we catch the bus downtown to the shows or whatever, sell weed, throw 3-card Molly on the bus, shoot dice, whatever. So then, as I said, I caught the case. My bodyguard. What's that, Rob?
That's like some bad audio. But anyway, I say my audio kind of bad on this thing. I don't know if it's connection. But like I said, we talked about Buddha, and now we're gonna talk briefly about Tookie, man, because a lot of people got a story about Tookie, and stuff like that. I just want to hear your story. Like I said, we touched on this on the last show. Just give me your story about Tookie and your relationship. I'm not talking about everybody else's relationship.
Okay.
This and that. I'm talking about your personal relationship with Tookie.
Okay, first of all, like I said, they had the meetings at stops, as they would call it. They'd all meet up at stops. Crip Charlie in the neighborhood it tried to get at me about it, and I ended up jumping on him about this, and I caught a case with some mocats across Vermont with a shooting, and I end up in there with a attempted murder, and I do a year. As I get out, as I said, my bodyguard, when he killed a school teacher, some kind of way, he was in I think a homosexual relationship with this teacher at school at Bethune, and being as I went to YA, the camp behind the gun at the school at Bethune that I shot in the school, they thought it was in retaliation against a teacher at Bethune, when really it had nothing to do with that, when they was calling me Little Hunger or whatever. But he was the one that would, watch my back, because he had 22s. He had already been to Tracy already. So in the event that I would run into Tookie, because Tookie was coming to the neighborhood, as a matter of fact, he was in Bitter Child's garage one time. They had a big crap game going on, right? I came and robbed his crap game. I had a bandana on and all of that, but I know Mario knew it was me. And I robbed, took, and everybody in the garage at the crap game.
Yeah.
I gave Mario a couple of dollars or whatever just to kind of keep it under his hat. I say, that was me that came around and got you all right. So I give him his little change back. But then anyway, he was trying to meet up with me because my daddy, he would see him. My daddy was an ex-sheriff, was one of the first black police with the police department. He got fired because my mom is white, and they found out he was with a white woman. They ended up firing him anyway, but he was a sheriff back then. I think that's why I was kind of rowdy like I was, because my daddy had ran up on the police one day and said, when they was questioning me and had me in the car, and my dad said he'd whoop their ass and take his badge or whatever, and he flashed his badge on the cop and all this. So I think that went to my head that I could get away with a lot of shit. So, but that's what made me kind of think that I could just, think you could get away with murder. But anyway, so while I'm in there, they're trying to get me to testify against my crime, which I tell him, I say, your lawyer working against you. He trying to get me to testify that I saw the murder, which I did. I didn't say that though. I said, I'm not going to testify to nothing. I ain't see shit.
So yeah, but let me ask you a question. So you met Tookie before you went to jail. You met Tookie when you was in jail on this case.
No, I meet him when I'm in prison. We in High Power together in 1750.
Okay, y'all in High Power, 1750 LA County Jail, right?
Right. So he catches the chain before me. My C number was 31050. His, I think, is something, I can't remember what it is, but his is a couple of digits after me. So he went right before me, because I went to the prison in 81 and he went sometime in 81 at the same time. But we communicated briefly just in High Power. You could like send little kites or whatever. But other than that, it was just brief conversation when we locked down in High Power, you know what I'm saying? Just talking that was in there, you know what I'm saying, off and on. But as I came back, my dealings was more or less in the pro-per tank in 3100, where I was in there with Doc Holliday, Honey Bear, and all of them cats at that time when they had a big Crip ride in the county jail. And I had sent word over there to have them turn pro per, and then when they can't turn pro per, they came into third. We ended up in 3,100 because they had a little thing in the 2,500. It was like maybe 25 cells on a roll. It was over 30 Crips in there at that time. They felt that we was finna take over the module, so they put us in high power. All of us, me, Honey Bear, Chew Ball, a bunch of regular cats that was in high power was at that time. So Took was not there. He was already sent to death row at that time. But as I said, me and Curtis, we would,
No, you said
something right.
No, you said yeah. You said at that time, like I said, I kind of got a bad connection. Like I said, at that time, Tookie had already was sent to death row at that time, correct?
Correct. Yeah, he was already sent out to death row. They fly you straight out to death row. You don't go to Chino and all that. Like they fly you right out to death row when you go to death row.
Okay, so let me just so you saying once a person is convicted in the state of California, they don't have to go to Delano, Wasco to no reception.
No, none of that. Straight out, they don't do none of that. They don't go to no reception centers.
So they go
to no reception. Yeah.
Well, they fly. That's what how they flew Charles Manson too, huh?
Yeah. Other than that, on the street one time, I didn't have an encounter with it. What it was, my nephew was doing some janitorial work. That's how I think that he ended up with those places out there doing janitorial work, that he ended up casing these places that he may have robbed. But he didn't buy nothing. I mean, my nephew got some PCP from me. I told him, don't tell him this is where I live at, because I didn't want him to know that I lived there anyway. But he was out in the car. So I believe right around that time he had smoked some Sherm when he did the crime. I ain't gonna say he was on mine, but it was on my mind at that time. I said, I wonder what he did. Did he get at him or what? But who knows? But as I said, when Took was in jail, they had the guy that was testifying against him walking around in the neighborhood, a guy named Blackie that was that they sent over into Canada because he was a Canadian citizen. So they kind of hid him out in Canada while he was testifying. Huh?
You said his name was Blackie?
Yeah. He was on the case with him. I don't remember his government name, but his street name was Blackie. But he was really, to me, he was the trigger man. He was more was the robber type dude already in his little clique that he was running with. Yeah. You know, but they gave Blackie immunity and all that, and they had him hid out in Canada doing his trial.
He testified. So he testified to the trial.
Yeah, he testified on Took. Yeah, he testified on Took.
And you say his name was Blackie?
Yeah, he's the main character because he was with them that got the conviction more or less than anything. He's the one who put the shotgun in Took's hand.
Okay.
Yeah.
So y'all heard it here on Wild True. You know, I got another OG that they've been talking about, man. You know, like I said, a lot of people know Mike Exceptions, you know, but a lot of people on our show, they this is gonna be first time to hear the name Mike Exception. You know, I heard, you know, that he was one of the original Crips, or you know, around that time. Just give me your story with Mike Exception.
Yeah, it's weird you say that because like when I came through juvenile hall, you know, Mike was in there. We was in E&F together, and I was pulled out when they first charged me. I was in there on the skate, so I'm in G&H. That's what it was. I'm in G&H, and Mike's in the unit with me, and they take me out when they find out, escaping from camp, when they find out that I got the murder. But anyway, I'm asking the passing of the potatoes, and a misunderstanding came with me and him about these potatoes that he had to pass to me at that time when we got into it. But they took me out. We didn't get into it to where we could have got into it because they took me out and put me in X. So that was the last encounter. Other than that, I knew Mike on the street when my little brother, Johnny Ringo, used to push him in the wheelchair when they was pimping out there in Inglewood back in the day. Johnny would push him push him around everywhere that he go. You remember Johnny Ringo that lived on your street?
Yes.
He lived on the street. His mama was white. They had the straight hair.
Yeah, I remember Johnny Ringo. Like I said,
yeah, man, light skinned Pippin, Johnny Ringo.
Yeah, you know, I met Mike Exception. I want to say I met Mike when he came home from the Fed, but you know, everybody knows the story when he had grand jury records and stuff like that. He had Silky Fine's side and a few other people's side to his grand jury entertainment. You know, I interviewed Mike, I want to say in like 2002, at Venice Beach, man. I wish I could find that footage. I think my partner Nino Cappuccino, man, Cap. You know,
Yeah.
we talked a few days ago about Cappuccino, man, Bonnie Hunter BJ, man. Tell me the story you had with Bonnie Hunter BJ, man. That's my partner, man. You said that was your partner too.
Yeah, I told you how that's how my career started out when it came to the PCP. That's where you would go to get your main ingredient to get the pipe through the Nickersons. That you know
Mm-hmm.
that you know that was the get down. And like I say, when I got out of YA, like the first crip to come into YA was Donnie and them that killed Curtis Beecher and them at the Athens Park boys. Because when I was in Paso Robles and I come up out of it's like a shoot that they had me in the Paso Robles. I had accumulated like 50, 40, 50 something write-ups, and 40, 30 of them was like for fighting. So they had just trying to get me out of there, but they couldn't send me to Preston. Even though they sent me there and put me in the hole, they say, no, he can't go to Preston. He got to go to Nellis because of his age. He's only 15. He's supposed to came here when he was 14. He shouldn't have came to Paso Robles. So when I get to
Yes,
Nellis,
yes.
this guy named Don Treat, didn't want to really put his name out there, but I did. Anyway, Treat was the guy that ran the hole in Nellis. So his son was murdered at Washington High back in the day. So when he
And what year
finds
is
out,
that?
it's 1972 when I come into Nellis. When they ship me out, they
72.
end up sending me to Fred C. Nellis. So when I get to Nellis, you come from, if you come from a hole, you're gonna go to a hole. You don't just go like regular coming in through reception. If you came from the hole, you're gonna go to the hole. So I'm in the hole. He's already waiting for
Mm-hmm.
me. When I get there, like he already know I'm coming. So he gassed me when I get there. Try to gas me to death. With gassing is when they mix the chemicals together, the bleach and shit, and put it in a bucket and throw it under your door.
Oh yeah,
You
yeah. I think
you
that
can't
you
breathe
get the
when
name
they
of that
throw this
shit
when
right
they throw
now.
it. Yeah, but they can mace you all. They mace you all off the top anyway. They gonna mace you up and all that. He had already maced me up, but they was throwing this bleach stuff up under the door where you was gagging. The only thing saved me, I had to stick my head in the toilet to breathe, and then lift your
Mm-hmm.
head out of the toilet. You know what I'm saying? Basically, ducking your head in and out the toilet. You can imagine how it is. You in the shitter, not no sink. You in the shitter, ducking your head.
Oh, okay,
So he
but
been,
let me ask you. No, like I say, I want this question been on my mind, man. It's a lot of, like I say, it's a lot of OGs on the internet. We're not gonna mention no names, because now that I'm on my True Crime podcast, I'll be like doing my research and trying to just get everything facts, man. Because like I say, the name of our show is Mob True Crime. So when we put out news, we want to make sure we put out true news. You know what I'm
right.
saying? Like I say, a lot of times, even in my generation, when people they be talking stuff like that. It was a guy on here maybe about a year ago. I think he's like he didn't gang bang, but he grew up in like the 5-5 neighborhood, and he was talking about Bruce Richardson, how Bruce was a baller. I was in friends with Bruce, but I said all gone. It's like you can't really talk about Bruce Richardson if you're not talking about Short. My homeboy, rest in peace from the '30s. But like I say, I'm saying all that to say this, just that, like I say, when it's like that, man, everybody not gonna have the same story. But like I say, your story, I know your story because I met you shit in like '87, but
Yeah.
that's all I'm gonna say. How you feel about that?
Um, uh, say that again now about what?
About like I say, OGs getting on here, what I'm saying, what this dude that story's not true, and that story not true, or that story didn't happen, blah blah this, blah blah that. What I'm saying, your story, what makes your story different? We just go from there.
Well, like I said, I was there from the beginning before they even put the name on it. As I said, from Sportsman's Park, which is Jesse Owens today, when they was having the record hops and all that back in the day. When Tookie and them was just the
Mm-hmm.
cafe boys, you know what I'm saying? For I caught the murder and went to YA, you know what I'm saying? That it's just that 1969 was when it was thought of, but with 70 or so was when it actually came out. As I said, Donnie and them came in there for the murder on Curtis Beach and them at Athens Park. He was one of the first ones to come into Nellis, and as I said, that was 72.
Mm-hmm.
When he's coming into Nellis, that would be 72. I don't get out to 73. And as I said, that's when they was in full bloom in 73. But as I said, I wasn't going to do no gang banging. When I said 2 years, I know I'm going to go right back if I end up catching another murder case. Being as I already had one, all I got to do is get caught up with a gang. I'm going to get caught up. So as I said, I picked up the sack because San Diego was a town that I knew that you go to San Diego, you right by the border. So as I said, I get the keys for what, $50 a key at the border, and bring them to LA and sell them for $175, $150 a key, and I'm getting 20 at a time. That was the thing back then. Once Angel Dust hit the mark, it was game over. Because you could take what, a half ounce and make how many ounces of dust? Come on, Geek. You can make pounds of that with ounces.
Okay, like I said, we talked about that last time, you know. So like I said, your hustle pretty much was the shine, the water.
Yeah, because you could take over any. It didn't matter what neighborhood you was from. If you had ounces of water, you gonna come in and meet whoever's running the hood anyway. It's just like when Freeway Rick had the kilos. It didn't matter. You don't have Hoover, whatever the biggest hood behind him. With the water, it was any hood.
Like I said,
you go to the cool.
At that time, anybody and everybody hood was smoking Sherm, man. That was like a big thing.
Yeah, you remember an ounce was $125, $150 an ounce, right? I could go somewhere and give it to you for $75 to $100. So it didn't matter. I have anywhere from 8 to 30 ounces with me all the time when I'm rolling from in any hood I want to go into, because I'm gonna go to the leaders and take it from there, from the top to the bottom. They gonna put it out there. So it was, that's why I was asking Dave, could he come up with that footage from Connie Chung in 1978 when she reported the big PCP bus?
Yeah, that's true. I was looking for that footage. I'll keep looking, but you're right. One of the easiest ways to take control of your area, barrio, hood, whatever, like where Rod and I are from in Fresno, if you get high level in any part of the dope game, whether it was weed back then, getting bricks from Mexico, coke, Sherm, any of it, all you had to do at that point was just move it to the leaders of all the different gangs, and they would take care of that, and you'd be basically a boss, for the lack of a better term.
And that's how I did. I come in, I meet whoever's running the neighborhood. I just come in and I give it to him for a certain price. He sends his workers out there. Then it just became clockwork. All I was doing was coming by, picking up every month to go to court. And what it was. Yeah, and as my daddy's saying, nobody gonna win but the bondsman and the lawyers eventually.
Yeah, the money always goes back in the system ultimately, right?
Yeah, that's all. That's what it seemed like. All I was doing every month, I'm coming to court, but I got to give him $1,000. I had Clay Jack for a lawyer. His dad, matter of fact, his son is the judge that held the case on Nipsey Hussle's murder trial. That was my lawyer's son back in the day. That was 30 years ago. That show you how long ago that was. But his son is the judge. But Clay Jack was my lawyer at that time. He wanted $1,000 every time he show up in Compton. But he came to Linwood. He came to Linwood when I caught the second case. He came to Linwood. They told him don't let me use the phone, but I got to the phone anyway. Some kind of way I get to the phone. I call Clay Jack. He pulls up in the Rolls Royce and come bail me out. And from there it was almost 3 years of just postponements after postponements. By that time, the law had changed. They had changed to where it was attempted murder. So I say that you didn't let it.
Like I say, you say you stayed out. You said I was 2.5 years fighting the case. So how much time did you get on this case, and what was the conviction?
I ended up getting 12 years and 8 months. But when I found out what they did, they crossed me. Clay Jack didn't show up one day, and they had a lawyer tell me that he could take my that he could step in for the day. When he stepped in for the day for me, right? He had me say I agreed to consolidate the cases. I didn't know what that meant back then, but all I did was seal my fate by consolidating the cases, made 2 weak cases turn into a strong case. So when Clay Jackson found out the next month, when he found out, because he got a 2-month postponement for me, I was getting 30 days at a time. And when he said he could get 2 months for me, it was a twist though to that. 2 months, and it sealed me going to penitentiary because I didn't have no case. They never proved nothing, but by them having 2 cases together, they was able to come at me. So when they convicted me, I get 12 years, 8 months. So when I when I hit Soledad, I get in touch with this guy that was a lifer, you know what I'm saying? The lifers really knew more about the law. We started working the law instead of that iron pile, and I go find out that People versus Dickinson, you couldn't use the smell of ether as probable cause for a warrantless search. So that would have turned my case over. But by the time I get the writ together, I done did the 3 years already. You get it?
Yeah,
By the time I get,
Listen,
so basically, I done the time. I had all the paperwork to beat the case, but instead of it being overturned, all I did was write a habeas corpus that the judge told me, Hiroshi Fujisaki, that's the one who took all OJ money.
Oh yeah, Fujisaki. That was the civil case. Yeah,
right. Yeah, the civil case. That's who was the one that convicted me on my manufacturing. He said, "You picked the wrong side, Steve." He said, "I'm gonna deny your writ, even though it's one of the best writs that I ever seen." I made out a 63-page habeas corpus on how they did on how illegal that was what they did. Right. He said, "I'm a cordially deny it, even though it's something I've never seen before by no layman just put this together. But you picked the wrong side."
Like that's any consolation. It's like, you tell me I wrote a good motion, but you're still not going to accept it. All right.
Yeah. And I did that on a violation. Once you do the 3 or 4 years that I did, right, it's 3 years behind that on a violation. They violated me really on the parole officer told me to empty my pockets. I had about $3,000 in my pocket. I had on some alligator shoes with the price tag on the bottom of them still. He saw how many $1,000s them shoes cost and the money. This dude gonna give me 30 days for living above my means. Just like that, I got 30 days. As soon as I get out, this dude send me enough to tell me what I say, "Now, man, you can't lock me up for that." He say, "Watch."
Well, what? So, don't ever tell them. This is a good cliffhanger for the next episode, but that's a good way to. Don't ever tell a judge, folks. You can't do that.
That man told me to turn around, took me to the county jail so fast.
Hey, ask him another question or two, Rod, to wrap it up, and then we'll do it. We'll have Steven on again and again and again, bro.
This is what I wanted to get into, right? I didn't mean to tell you, I was a boxer, right, in prison, right? So I had my parole officer. She had got in contact with the people at Hoover Gym, right? And these are the people that had been watching me. I'm in my 20s right then. I'm finna fight Henry Tillman over at YTS. That's when Henry Tillman, the guy that Mike Tyson fought. Mike Tyson knocked out Henry Tillman because Henry Tillman beat him in the Olympics because he was a youngster then. And I was going to fight him at YTS. But anyway, I ended up hitting the police because the police had socked me in the back of the head or something. And I turned around and hit him in the chest. But he didn't testify against me, so they sent me to Palm Hall over to Chino, and I did the rest of my parole. What it is, I maxed out. Had I been on parole, I could have got probably more time, but they didn't file on me, and I was off parole, so they, you know what I'm saying. So I walked on that one, but they just were trying to scare me because the police said I'm not even gonna say that he wasn't gonna tell because he didn't want to tell people that I was able to knock him down with a hit in the chest. You hear me, Rod? I turned the fire and hit him in the chest. I hit him in the chest, right, and he go down. I just run into my dorm and sit down and watch the Laker game or whatever, right? They was looking for me, right? They find me, said, "There go that asshole right there," right? So they take me out, took me to Palm Hall, and that's where they had that boy, what's the boxer dude was in there. For the Mexican mafia, the dude boxer, the one that testified.
Enrique.
Man, he had one of the Mexicans stabbed because they didn't give him his cookies and sugar.
Yeah, they didn't play around.
You got the Mexicans could not eat no sugar and could not eat their cookies. They got to pass that down. All the Mexicans got to turn in your cookies and the sugar. He gonna make wine with that, right?
Oh yeah.
So basically, all he did was sit up and shoot heroin. That Mexican would sit up shooting heroin and getting high all day long, but he calling shots all over the city.
Yeah, that dude wasn't no joke.
Okay, well, listen, man, we gonna end the show.
It turned out to be the biggest rat in the world.
He did. He ended stitching them out, But that Ice Cube song says, "Essays deep, don't mess with them boys." Yeah.
He got all of them on life. That's how they all sitting on life sentences right now because of him.
Yeah. A boxer. Yeah, he's always the one they show. He's got the black hand tattoo on his chest. That dude. Yeah.
Yeah, he would tell me to tell the Crips to stop banging on the, they be rapping, hitting on the desk and banging on the tables. I tell them to be quiet at a certain time, but you don't tell us what to do.
Yeah, no doubt.
You don't tell us what to do.
Well, you're not going to order us to do nothing.
Yeah, you don't order us around. But I say, you got about 6 in the back there. I say they got to come back, man. I know how to make poles and all that. I say I'm gonna get a couple of them if they believe me. So he didn't really want. He didn't want to start no war. They stopped the war when I got out. But dude said when I left, he said, man, they kicked that shit off as soon as you left. He said they got back at our ass as soon as you left.
Yeah. Hey, we're gonna leave it at that for right now. We appreciate everybody joining us. Make sure you hit the like button, share, subscribe, ring the notification bell. Get Gene Borello's book at geneborello.com. There's also my website, which is Mob True Crime. And then, of course, follow us all on social media at Gene Borello, as well as Roddy J30. I'm at Mob True Crime on IG. We've got a little bit of other social media as well. And, of course, send a super chat or a super sticker or a cash app at $ Mob True Crime if you enjoyed this show and like to see some more. And become a channel member, like I said. And then, of course, sub to both channels, Mob and Organized Crime News, which is at Mob and OC News, as well as Mob True Crime, which is at Mob True Crime. Thank you once again. You know, CEO Rod's part of the coalition. Steve, I think you might be coming on board too. It looks like we're building a coalition of like the old school guys and putting out good content and teaching these youngsters what time it is, man.
Yeah, let me just say this. Yeah, we're gonna bring Steve on board, so when the OGs get to talking, man, they can just sit down and they can go back and forth. Not saying whose story is right and whose story is wrong, but he like I his story. Like I say, he first generation, man. I'm second generation. And like
keep in mind, everybody's got their own interpretation and their own things that they went through personally. And you may have 5 different dudes that were old school at the same spot, but you have your perspective because you know what you did and went through. With another guy might, be able to say, I saw 80% of that, but I didn't see the other 20. It is what it is.
Really?
By its nature, as a criminal and a gangster, a mobster, you ain't trying to tell everybody your business.
No, that's what they don't do.
The smart ones don't these days, though. We could get into a whole episode on
I don't understand
social media after they robbed a bank. Hey, look what I got, bro! Look at this! Look at this bag I stole from Wells Fargo.
They finna convict that dude, the slime dude or whatever his name is on RICO just on what he rapped.
Yeah, no doubt. There's dudes
they're gonna convict him on the RICO charge. How about how he killed that boy's mama and told his mama how he slapped his mama and all that shit in the rap song.
Yeah, you got dudes, like I said, they're rapping their way right to prison. They're going to be rhyming a lot, like you were saying, banging on the table in the prison, rapping for the next 25 years.
Who calls the police and tells them how to bust them?
Yeah. Back in
like
the day,
police, man, look, man, this is where my shit is at.
He wasn't like that, man. So, all right, you guys. Hey, thanks for joining. Steve, Rod, you guys have a good one, man. We'll be back next time, fellas.
All right, crib out.